Hi, my name is Maiya Sykes. I am a singer, songwriter, vocal contractor, vocal educator, and all-around musical hustler living in Los Angeles. When you are a professional singer, you're asked a lot what your best genre is. And my answer is that I've had to learn how to do everything. So I do jazz, rock, pop, R&B. I've done voiceovers as animated characters. I do what brings me the dinero. But if I had to say what my favorite love of music was, I would always come back to jazz. And in my heart, I always feel like I'm a jazz artist. I think that I best excel at jazz, and in my professional career, if you Google me, you'll see that my name comes up with a lot of jazz artists. And I even have a single that is out right now with Jeff Goldblum on his new record as a jazz artist. But one of the things that has made me come back to jazz over and over and over again, no matter what type of art I do, is the love that I first experienced with music came from listening to jazz artists. If I had to pick a vocal influence of mine that I always come back to, that is always my benchmark, that is always my standard, it would hands down be Ella Fitzgerald. I have been an Ella Fitzgerald fan for as long as I can remember. And I think the first time I got an Ella Fitzgerald record, I think I was about 7 or 8. When I was a kid, my mom used to give me a little allowance and let me go to record stores and go to the 99-cent bin and pick out different cassettes. And it was a great way to experience new genres. And I would just pick by the cover. I would sometimes know nothing about the genre, know nothing about the artist, but the cover would really speak to me. I remember this one particular time we went to Tower Records, and I was really excited because my mom had given me for my birthday one of those yellow Sony Walkman with the gray cover, and it would like latch over, and you had those big poofy headphones. Oh my gosh, I love those. But anyway, I had just gotten that, so I wanted to spend some of my birthday money getting new records. And one of the first ones I pulled out was an Ella Fitzgerald record with a Tisket a Tasket on the cover. There's a beautiful cover of Ella Fitzgerald. She's got beautiful curls, thin eyebrows, and a bright, shining face that looks like a cherub. And I know this is cliche to say that representation matters, but it does, because this is one of the first times I ever saw anybody on a cover of a record that I went, oh, that kind of looks like me. And I could identify with that. I think that particular image really spoke to me because she looked bright, she looked happy, she didn't look like she didn't belong, she looked like she was the moment. That always stuck with me. I remember listening to A Tisket a Tasket, and that sound will always stay with me. It was the first time I ever heard anybody sound like that. I think Ella Fitzgerald's lasting power in music was that she could imitate so many different instruments. And I think that her learning how to imitate instruments is what made her a great jazz improvisationalist. So I'm always fascinated by the bebop era in jazz because I think it was its most prolific time. And for me as a vocalist, it's honestly its most exciting. I look at singers of that era, and the three that really stand out for me were Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, and Mel Torme. And Ella Fitzgerald will always be my tops, but I love Sarah Vaughan because of the way that she related to piano, her lyrical phrasing, and the way that she would, for lack of a better word, color a note and color a song, I think became revolutionary and really changed the jazz game. Mel Torme, the way that he scatted and his rhythmic phrasing, again, that was a game changer. But for me, the reason why Ella Fitzgerald's always been my favorite was she did both of those things. I loved Ella Fitzgerald's interpretation of especially horn lines. I think that she gets that from Louis Armstrong. In fact, I heard a story once where she and Louis Armstrong were on the road together and they ended up getting arrested because Louis Armstrong was in possession of reefer. He even wrote a reefer song. You should look it up. It's hilarious. But in that time, Ella Fitzgerald was so perturbed to be placed in jail because that was definitely not her vibe. And one of the ways that she was calmed down was Louis Armstrong started playing horn for her, and she started mimicking the sounds back. I think in the before times, I would love just walking into a studio and an engineer would press play and then I would sing. But these are not those times. In Corona, I had to learn how to do everything, record myself, be my own engineer, be my own all the things, because I'm every woman. It is all in me. So one of the things now that is an actual expectation of professional singers is you need to have your own microphone, your own computer, your own digital audio workstation, and your own interface. So mine are of a standard model, but my microphone is really good. This is my microphone. It is the Neumann TLM 103. No endorsement, but pending. Anyway, I think it's a great utilitarian mic and it has gotten all my things done. So she's a soldier and I love her. And she's a professional grade mic that I've had, I think, for 15 years. So good investment. She's made her money back. I'm working on an a cappella arrangement of an Ella Fitzgerald song called A Tisket, a Tasket. So because I'm doing it a cappella, I am going to be replacing the instrument sounds with my voice. So I want to make sure that I'm recording the right pads that sound like the bass, the drums, the guitar, the piano, etc. But instead, I want them to sound like a chorus. So I want them to have elements that are percussive, elements that are melodic, but I also want them to be padded together. There's one particular cool part of the song that I really like, where it goes from major, which if you don't know music terms at all, major sounds very, very happy, to minor. And minor sounds like, you know, something's brewing or something's a coming. And I like that transition as a musician. So you'll hear the vocals say, a tisket, a tasket, a brown and yellow basket. And so the corresponding vocals will help pad out that sound. So think of your a tisket, a tasket as the main line, and everything else will be supporting that. So we'll go from bass, tenor, alto, soprano, right? And we're going to start at the bottom. So our bass line has a ba-da-da. So we're just going to make sure that we hit that and make sure everything works with that bass line. So we're just going to do it 2 times. Ba-da-da, 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 ba-da-da. So let's record that. Here we go. Army track and ba-da-da, 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 ba-da-da. I like that. So now I want to go and do my alto line. Oops, let me stop recording. Always turn off your track and press save because you need save. Now we're going to allow our alto line to shape that. Ready? Army track, and here we go.
A tasket. I lost my yellow basket. Won't someone help me find my basket and make me happy again? Was it green? No, 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 no. Was it red? No, 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 no. Was it blue? No, 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 no. Just a little yellow basket.